All right, let's get right into it. If you're an entrepreneur, you know this feeling, right? You started a business to be free, but now, well, now it feels like the business owns you. You're the chief firefighter, the top salesperson, the one who checks everything. Today, we're talking about how to break out of that trap.
And this quote, this one really hits home. It gets to the absolute core of the problem. A business without systems is basically running on hope. It's dependent on specific people not quitting, on you remembering every little detail, and, let's be honest, a whole lot of luck. You can't control any of that. But systems? Now those are something you can build.
So, I want you to do a quick thought experiment. Be really honest with yourself. If you disappeared for a month, no emails, no calls, completely off the grid, what would happen to your business? Would it keep growing? Would it just survive? Or would it completely implode? The answer to that tells you everything you need to know. It tells you if you've built a business or just a really high-stress job for yourself.
And yeah, that demanding job actually has a name. It's called the founder's trap. It's that frustrating place where every new customer, every new project just means more hours on your plate. Growth stops feeling like a victory and starts feeling like a heavier backpack you have to carry. You've become the bottleneck, the one-person show, and your business literally cannot grow beyond what you can personally handle in a day.
You can really see the two different worlds here. On one side, you've got the founder-dependent business. It's pure chaos, right? It's just reacting to whatever fire pops up next. It's that hamster wheel. But on the other side, you see the system-driven model. The founder isn't running in the machine. They're the architect of the machine. The goal is to get you off that wheel and into the designer's chair.
And that really is the whole game. It's a huge mental shift. You have to stop seeing your job as being the best operator in the business, the one turning all the wrenches and pulling all the levers. Instead, your job becomes being the architect, the person who draws the blueprint for a machine that can run without you.
So let's really lean into that idea of the business as a machine. It's a fantastic way to think about it. It has all these different parts, these gears and levers that have to mesh perfectly to spit out a predictable result every single time. And your job? It's to be the chief engineer. You design it, you build it, and you keep it tuned up.
Okay, so what are the actual parts of this machine? What are the big components we need to build? Well, it really boils down to 5 core systems. And these aren't optional. These are the non-negotiable building blocks for any business that's meant to last. I don't care if you're selling coffee or coding software.
System number 1, the attention engine. This is your marketing. Think of it like the fuel pump for your entire machine. If you don't have a reliable way to get fuel, that is, attention from potential customers, coming in, the whole thing just grinds to a halt. And the goal of this system is super specific. This isn't just getting your name out there or brand awareness. No, it's about building a predictable, repeatable process that takes someone who has no idea who you are and turns them into someone who is genuinely interested in what you do. That's how you get off that feast or famine roller coaster.
So, how do you actually build this thing? Well, it all starts with one crucial first step: knowing exactly who you're talking to. Who is your ideal customer? Once you know that, you can build awareness by showing up where they already hang out, whether that's through content or ads or something else. And then you need a way to nurture that spark of interest, so they're warmed up and ready for what comes next.
Okay, so your attention engine is pumping fuel into the system. Great. Now we need the part of the machine that actually ignites that fuel and turns it into forward motion, and that's revenue. We're talking about your sales system, your conversion process. Just hoping you have a natural-born salesperson on the team is, well, it's not a system. It's a recipe for total unpredictability.
The whole point here is to make sales predictable. When you have a solid sales system, you can actually look at your pipeline and have a pretty good idea of what your revenue is going to be next month. Why? Because you've got a standard, repeatable process for everything, from the first inquiry to the final handshake. It really does turn sales from a mysterious art into a manageable science.
And this is what that looks like in practice. You've got to have a system for managing new leads so nothing gets lost. You need a playbook for handling the same objections you hear over and over again. And, non-negotiable, you need a standardized pipeline, usually in some kind of CRM, so you can see exactly where every single prospect is in the process.
All right, so marketing brought them in, sales closed the deal. Awesome. But now comes the real test, the moment of truth. You actually have to deliver what you promised. This is the engine room of your business. This is operations and fulfillment.
And pay close attention to that critical phrase, without founder oversight. That's the whole point. The goal is a system so well documented and so solid that your team can deliver an amazing, consistent result every single time, even if you're not there.
That's what creates raving fans who come back and tell their friends.
So how do you pull that off? 3 things, really. You need written down standard operating procedures, SOPs, the official "this is how we do it here" guide. You need quality control steps built into the process, not just you doing a final check. And you need a real system for handling customer support. That's how you scale quality, not just quantity.
So think about it. Marketing, sales, and operations. That's like the powerful engine of your car. But an engine can't do anything on its own. It needs a chassis to sit in and a dashboard to monitor it. That's where our last 2 systems come in: finance and people. They're the support structure that holds the whole thing together. Let's be blunt. The goal of your finance system is to make sure you're actually making money and, even more importantly, that you don't run out of cash. It sounds simple, but that's the #1 killer of small businesses. And your people system? Its job is to find, train, and keep the amazing people who are going to operate all these other systems for you.
Okay, this next part is maybe the most important concept of all. You can't just get really good at one of these systems and call it a day. They're all interconnected, like gears in a clock. They have to work together seamlessly. And that brings us to something called the weak link rule.
It's such a simple but powerful idea. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and your business is exactly the same. It's only as strong as its weakest system. You could have the best marketing in the world, but if your operations system is a disaster, all you're doing is pouring water into a leaky bucket.
And this phrase just says it all, doesn't it? Great marketing plus poor fulfillment doesn't equal growth. It equals failing faster. All you're doing is speeding up the process of making promises you can't keep, which, is a great way to torpedo your reputation.
So let's zoom out and put it all together. When you focus on building these 5 systems so they work in harmony, you fundamentally change your job. You're no longer the exhausted operator stuck inside the machine. You finally get to step outside and become the architect, the designer of a business that creates value without you.
And really, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. A business that depends on you will always eventually exhaust you. It's a trap. But a business that runs on systems, that's a real asset. It has value that exists completely separate from you. It can be sold, it can be scaled, and it can grow into something bigger than you ever imagined. So that leaves us with one last very practical question for you to think about. When you look at your own business right now, where is the biggest fire? What's the weakest link in your chain? Is it marketing, sales, operations? Because wherever that bottleneck is, that's your starting point. That's where you begin. So which part of your machine are you going to start working on first?